the Commissioners to order. As always, we start with the Pledge of Allegiance. Would Commissioner McLean start us since your first year?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And will the clerk please take roll call attendance?
Commissioner Egan.
Here.
Commissioner Johnson.
Yes.
Commissioner Martin.
Here.
Commissioner McLean.
Here.
And Chairman Shackleton.
Here, everybody's here. So the meeting will proceed with a quorum. Next item is additions, deletions, and agenda approval. Does anybody have any additions or deletions they would care to offer?
Is this on today's,
I'm sorry, what is that?
the fee schedule?
Yes.
We talked
yes,
about removing that?
Yes, it's item 10F.
Okay, so
it's on here.
it's gone on,
It's on our agenda.
okay, that's okay.
Yeah, it's coming.
Didn't know if we were still going that direction. Okay, thank you.
I move approval of the agenda as presented.
Motion made and supported that the agenda be approved as presented. Is there discussion? All in favor, vote aye.
All right,
Opposed, vote nay. Motion carries. Approval of the county board minutes meeting of March 14th, 2016. Those minutes are on page 1 in the big packet.
I would move to approve the minutes.
Support.
Motion made and supported to approve the minutes. Is there discussion on that motion? All in favor, vote aye.
all right.
Opposed, vote nay. Motion carries. We move to correspondence received in the clerk's office. And again, as always, there is a variety of correspondence. Maybe a little bit more this month
Ooh.
than usual.
I think some of these we are actually dealing with today.
I move approval of the correspondence in the clerk's office, or acceptance of correspondence in the clerk's office, and forward those to the appropriate committee if appropriate.
I support.
All right, motion is made to acknowledge the correspondence received in the clerk's office and to forward as appropriate. Is there any discussion? All in favor, vote aye.
All right,
Opposed, vote nay. Motion carries. And we move to public comments. Anybody in the public who wishes to speak, come on up. You got, I think if you come on up to the podium, that would probably, we'll pick you up with that other mic.
It's not on, the mic isn't
I think
on
that
the
mic
podium.
behind her would probably pick it up, don't you think? Does it? Okay.
well, we'll see.
The clerk says it picks up pretty well.
Okay, she knows better than I.
Watch your step if there's any wires down there, I don't know.
Nope, she's okay.
Okay.
My name is Adele Easterday, and I've lived in this community since 1980. And I'm worried about the pipeline that's under the bridge. And you county commissioners, last December 21st, passed a resolution supporting the continuation of the operation as long as it was safe and overlooked by the state and federal government, and unless there were changes or evidence of something further to worry about. But you also supported the shutdown of the pipe. And there is new evidence and there are further problems that are very unnerving. I've been to 2 different meetings about this pipeline, and every time I go, I get more and more filled with fear. The pipeline is 63 years old. The company has been in non-compliance with the federal and state regulations for the upkeep of that pipeline from time immemorial. They prefer to pay the small fees of non-compliance rather than the large costs of repairing it. Enbridge has lied about the thickness of the steel of the pipeline as well as the seams that connect it from St. Ignace to Mackinac City. At the last meeting, a man stood up and he said that it is not 1 inch thick, it is a ½ inch thick. And somebody said, "How do you know?" And he said, "I laid it." And these men that worked on laying that pipeline, they're coming forward now and telling their stories, and I think that's where a lot of this information is coming from. Also, they showed the video, the one that broke in the Kalamazoo River. It was the side seams, like these are long cylinders, and on the sides, they are welded together. But, and they say, well, the one in the Straits doesn't have side seams. It doesn't. They are welded on the ends every 20 feet from St. Ignace to Mackinac City. It's not on the side, it's on the ends. Enbridge has a reputation of not being somebody that we can really trust. Michigan Attorney Bill Schuette has stated in regards to Line 5 that, quote, the pipeline wouldn't be built if it was done today, and that the pipeline days are numbered. And then the Coast Guard Commandant testified before Congress that the Coast Guard would be unable to respond effectively to an open water spill in the heart of the Great Lakes. We know that recently, 30 years ago, in 1980, Enbridge had a spill in the Hiawatha Forest. This is the most recent thing. The Detroit Free Press carried the story in their Saturday paper. They said they reported that spill to the U.S. forest officials, but the forest officials say they didn't hear about that spill until 2012. Now, they're testing the water table there and found it to be contaminated. They effectively buried 825 tons of soil and contaminants in the Delta County landfill in May of 2012, trying to hide evidence of that spill. It's just, when it comes to the level of trust for the way people are doing business from that Enbridge company, it creates fear. I'm asking you to rescind that last resolution and choose one with stronger wording, and I gave you a sample of the one that Emmett County and some of the other ones in Michigan are putting up now, because it's not just about the stoppage of that oil. That pipe also needs to be removed from the Straits because it's just going to further decay and allow the contaminants in the water. For Mother's Day, we had walleye fish from the St. Mary's River, grilled on, cooked outside. And all day, all I could think of was the people in Escanaba or Knock Bay eating their walleye for the last 30 years in that contaminated water. I don't know how this is all going to come out in the end. No one's done any studies on the health or any medical reports of the people from that area. I just shudder to think. Let's see. They tell a lot of stories. They said 84% of the materials traveled in those pipes service the Upper Peninsula. It does not. It's 2%. I sent Mr. McLean some evidence to support that last night. The Enbridge spill in Kalamazoo River area went unanswered for 17 hours. The guy in Edmonton, Alberta that heard the alarm thought it was a malfunction. That pipe in Kalamazoo was only 40 years old. Ours is 63 years old. Then they couldn't find enough men to put together to make up a cleanup crew to respond to the Kalamazoo spill, so the local people called the local police and fire department that are not at all equipped to handle an oil spill, and the Coast Guard has told us the same here. That spill was contained by a dam. We don't have a dam. We have no way to contain it. In Kalamazoo, it took 5 years and $2 billion, and it still isn't cleared up. The currents of the small rivers do not at all compare with the currents of the Great Lakes, where Lake Huron and Michigan collide beneath the Straits area. It's something like the tonnage of the Niagara Falls going over is what we have under that bridge in the Great Lakes, rocking east and west over this 63-year-old rusted out pipe that's been patched together because it's cheaper. When the break hits here on our 63-year-old pipe, all will be destroyed from Mackinac City to the St. Lawrence Seaway south on the east, from Mackinac City to Indiana south on the west, north to Minnesota, Canada on all north, east, and western borders, And this will include all inland waters, lakes, and streams because it crosses the Mississippi River. All fishing will end, all hunting will end, all beaches will be black, and I suspect that the I-500 will have a sooty black cast to the white snow as well. It might be a good idea to bring all political groups into play. I was thinking the Chamber of Commerce that plans all these events, if they could lead the charge by hosting a chamber of all the other areas to a meeting and show them the U of M simulation video of the guaranteed disaster that is coming our way, the imminent disaster. Enbridge has increased the pressure in the flow of oil since that Kalamazoo spill. They know that their days are numbered because of the quote from Mr. Schuette. And they're trying to squeeze the last $1 billion profit off before they're forced to shut down. That tells you that this burst is coming sooner than later. I just ask that you don't walk away from this. Water will be more important than oil here shortly, and we hold 23% of the world's fresh water and 43% of the fresh water of the United States. Be protectors of that. Make jobs and an industry out of fresh, clean water. Do this for your children, grandchildren, and great-grandchildren. And I appreciate your time this evening, and I'm going to leave these copies with you. This is a very small map to show you how this pipe travels about, and this is just what I just said to you. I appreciate your time.
Thank you, ma'am. And we're still under public comments. Would anybody else like to speak under public comments? Okay, then one more chance for public comment. And I declare public comment period be closed. We move to administrator's report. Administrator German.
You'll see the various reports there, Department of Veterans Affairs, the Sheriff's Department stats, Warrenwall Hospital update from Mr. John, animal control activity, public defender. Also to note, we will hear on the RAP grant, hopefully by the end of the week for some of our security work. The UP Administrators Conference has just been scheduled, so we couldn't get that in on time, but that will be the 26th or the 27th of May. And the UP administrators have basically decided to meet on their own rather than go to the MACO conference downstate. And very soon we'll also be scheduling a Building and Grounds Committee meeting. We will be taking up the extent of the repairs that we want to do to the bell tower roof, as well as the other roof at the courthouse, and any siding activities. Thank you.
Thank you.
Want to do or need to do in the bell towers case?
The bell towers case is a need to do on the roof.
Thank you.
All right, anyone else on the administrator's report? Then we'll move on to old business. We have a board appointment. This is the Department of Veterans Affairs, and this is on page 11. And we have 4 candidates for Veterans Affairs Board, that being Don Cooper, Nicholas Hike, Robert John Lay, is it pronounced Lay? Lee, sorry, and Travis Rondo. And we usually conduct these by asking the clerk to do a round robin polling for purposes of voting the appointment. So anytime you're ready, why don't you go ahead and do that?
Commissioner Egan,
Nicholas Hike.
Commissioner Johnson,
Nicholas Hike.
Commissioner McLean,
John Lee.
Commissioner Martin,
Don Cooper.
and Chairman Shackleton.
I am voting for Don Cooper. So let's see, we have 2 for Cooper, 2 for Hike, and we had 1 for Mr. Lee, is that correct?
That is correct.
All right, so we'll drop off Mr. Lee and ask the commissioners to vote for the 2 highest vote getters, either Mr. Cooper or Mr. Hike.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes.
I just wanted to mention that when we went through this initially, we reviewed the state law
created the Veterans
Mhm.
Affairs Committee. And one part of that, or was pointed out in there, that for a person to be considered for this position, they have to have recommendations from various veterans groups. Okay, that's like the VFW, American Legion, Vietnam Veterans, and so on and so forth. I sent out an email earlier indicating that I had reviewed all the applicants, and there was only one applicant of the 4 that had the recommendations. He had recommendations from both the Vietnam veterans and the American Legion, plus a number of other civic groups. And I guess at this point, I want to point out that if we, and John Lee is that person. That's why I voted for him, and I assumed that everybody else would be familiar with that, and that that John would be the person. I guess what I'm seeing here is that we're on the way to appoint somebody who did not fulfill the requirements for the position as laid out by state law.
Pardon me, I'm gonna have to disagree with you. I read over that law pretty clearly. In fact, I brought to the commission saying, we've been doing it wrong all these years, this is the way we have to do it.
Yeah.
And the law said that we were to solicit recommendations from the boards, or the veterans groups. It did not say that a candidate must have a recommendation. It said that we must solicit. So we did. We solicited recommendations from as many veterans groups as we could identify. We are free to appoint anyone to that board, but they, number one, had to apply, and number two, we had to follow the law and get recommendations. And since you mentioned it, to my knowledge, the veterans group that is our Veterans Committee has asked for Mr. Cooper to be appointed to it. And frankly, that's why I'm supporting Mr. Cooper, because those gentlemen who are on that board felt that he would be a good member. So I'm going along with that. It wasn't just out of the, for no reason. But anyway, I had my say. If anybody else wants to chime in on it, go ahead.
I was wondering, if that is the case, was it made known to the candidates that they should have letters of support from these veterans groups, if it is a requirement, or it isn't a requirement? So my question is moot. Also, if they would like to make a recommendation, shouldn't they do it formally and give the recommendation to all of us, or come and tell us who they would like us to appoint?
Well, we could certainly ask them to do that. Historically, we've never asked the Veterans Committee to come to a meeting and tell us. It was usually either passed along, either verbally or in writing. But Kelly, you read the law as well as I did, so that we could follow it, make sure we were following it. Am I describing it accurately?
To solicit the agencies in the county
To seek recommendations and applicants, yeah.
Yes.
Okay, I just want to make sure.
The candidates were too.
Oh, well, we were supposed to too, weren't we? We were supposed to
I
ask.
believe we did that, and they.
Yeah, because we sent out letters.
So
We
maybe-
advertised,
Yep.
and Jackie contacted the agencies in the area seeking applicants.
Okay.
Both.
Yeah, in the past, we always thought that, we put out our public applications, as we always did. We followed all the county rules, and then we often took into very serious recommendation of the county vets that were serving on the board. We did find that the state law said that you should be doing these other things also. You should be soliciting recommendations from veterans groups in the county. So once we found that, we, of course, decided, well, this is how we have to do it from now on. We just realized it. So anyway, are we ready to vote again, or do we have a little more discussion?
I'm gonna maybe ask that we get some legal consultation on this, to make myself more comfortable, and maybe give the candidates time to get their ducks in a row, since maybe they didn't know that they needed to solicit some letters from veterans groups. Is this something that we possibly could table until the next board meeting?
Of course, it could be tabled, but I would just have to say that the law was very plain language. There wasn't anything confusing about it. There's no requirement that they have letters of recommendation. But again, if it's the commission's will to table it, then we table it.
I'd move that we table this.
Support.
All right, there is a motion made and supported to table. There is no discussion on a tabling motion, but we do, however, vote. So I'm going to ask for a roll call on the tabling motion.
Commissioner Egan.
Aye.
Commissioner Johnson.
No.
Commissioner McLean.
Yes.
Commissioner Martin.
Aye.
And Chairman Shackleton.
No. So we have 3 to table, 2 do not table, so it passes, and this matter is tabled, and presumably until the next meeting. And then we move on then to new business. We have Resolution 1609. This is a special recognition for Gary McLeod. Mr. McLeod has served Chippewa County for nearly 30 years. He has been a probation officer, and we certainly do appreciate all his service, and to pass this recognition to honor him and congratulate him on his retirement.
I'd move resolution 1609, special recognition of Gary McLeod.
I'll support.
Motion made and supported to pass 1609 resolution, and would the clerk please take a roll call vote on the resolution?
Commissioner Egan.
Aye.
Commissioner Johnson.
Aye.
Commissioner Martin.
Aye.
Commissioner McLean.
Yes.
And Chairman Shackleton.
Yes, and that passes. We move to resolution 1610. This is the EPA and Army Corps of Engineers implementation for regulation for defined waters of the U.S. under the Clean Water Act. And this is on page 28. And this, again, is a resolution.
I would move resolution 1610.
Motion
Support.
made and supported. Any discussion on the motion? Clerk, please take a roll call vote.
Commissioner Egan.
Nay.
Commissioner Johnson.
Yes.
Commissioner Martin.
Aye.
Commissioner McLean.
Yes.
And Chairman Shackleton.
Yes, and that passes. We move to resolution 1611, opposing House Bill 5016, regulation of public right-of-ways. This resolution is on page 30.
I'd move resolution 1611.
I'd support.
Motion is made and supported to approve this. Is there discussion? The clerk please take a roll call vote.
Commissioner Egan.
Aye.
Commissioner Johnson.
Aye.
Commissioner Martin.
Aye.
Commissioner McLean.
Yes.
And Chairman Shackleton.
Yes. That passes. We move to resolution 1612. We have a lot of resolutions today. This is urging state transparency, and this resolution is on page 32.
I would support. Enthusiastically.
Is that your original motion?
Making a motion. I'll
Motion to support, sorry.
Okay. So is motion made and supported to pass resolution 1612. Any discussion? Clerk, please take a roll call vote.
Commissioner Egan.
Aye.
Commissioner Johnson.
Yes.
Commissioner Martin.
Aye.
Commissioner McLean.
Yes.
Chairman Shackleton.
Yes. Resolution 1613, this is item E under number 10, new business. This is supporting the City of Sault Ste. Marie's application to the MDEQ, their Island Trail Project, installation of ADA, which of course is People with Disabilities Act, compliant dock systems at Island number 2 and the Rotary Park. This resolution is on page 34. Americans with
I
Disabilities.
would move resolution 1613.
I'd support.
I couldn't think of what the first A was. We have a motion and supported to pass this. Is there any discussion on that motion? Would the clerk please take a roll call vote?
Commissioner Egan.
Aye.
Commissioner Johnson.
Yes.
Commissioner Martin.
Aye.
Commissioner McLean,
Yes.
and Chairman Shackleton.
Yes. Item F is a fee schedule for household hazardous waste collections. This is on page 50. This has come to us from the recycling committee entity. Let's see if I can find it here. Okay. What this is, I'll introduce it real quick. The recycling wants to have a special day where you can drive through and drop off hazardous waste up at the recycling center. Things that are hard to get rid of and things that are expensive to get rid of. And they have a fee schedule for how much it would cost, but this is to get rid of hazardous waste, including batteries and electronics, and I presume is this paint and stuff too? Yeah, all kinds of stuff you can take up there. But our contract with them does require that we approve the amount that they're going to charge, and that's why it's before us today. So we would need a motion to take action on it.
I'll make that motion.
I'll support.
Motion made and supported. Now we can discuss it if anybody would like. Commissioner McLean.
I'm curious, is this an increase in fees or is this a new fee? My first question.
That's a great question. I'm not sure what they were charging previously when they had it. I think at times they tried to subsidize it based on what they had. The recycling world has changed dramatically, that things they used to get money for, now they get none or very little. And it's, this was what they had to do in order to be able to take hazardous waste. So it's not a perfect answer, but the best one I can give you, and I don't know if anyone else can be more
Yeah,
detailed.
the problem is that the cost for recyclables, especially metal, has just gone into the dumper, and they're in trouble financially. They've had to I believe, let a worker go. They're trying to handle it as best they can. They're trying to cut their losses because the alternative is not good. We don't want these things in the woods. We don't want these things in our lakes, our rivers, streams. I would think the good people of Sault Ste. Marie would be willing to pay a little extra to keep these things out of our environment. As much as I don't like the fees, I like the alternative far less, and that is people are just going to drop these, and people are probably going to drop them off anyhow. And it's the things that they used to get hundreds of thousands of dollars for, they're giving away, and then they're eating transportation. The last meeting was very informative and not in a good way. It's just like you said, the world's changed. The price of oil going down has made plastic recycling a financial burden on anybody who does it, because it's cheaper with gas being as cheap as it is. It's cheaper to have new plastic than it is to recycle old plastic. So they're trying to cut their losses as best they can until we can find a solution, or the price of gas goes back to $4 a gallon, and I'm not looking forward to that day. So this is the recycling world that we're in right now, and it's not pleasant.
Rudy
Well,
did.
people
Rudy is also a member of the recycling committee and was there.
Yeah, people, I'm sure a lot of people understand batteries are a problem. You have to tape both ends of a battery. It takes a lot of man-hours just to get rid of a little 9-volt battery. You gotta tape that little, whatever it is. And it's, they just can't afford to do it anymore. So I totally agree with having a charge.
Done.
I guess, using the recycling, I use it all the time. Okay, and I see TVs listed here. When I had an old TV, my son bought me a new flat screen, and we had to get rid of the old one. I ended up taking it to Smith Sanitation, paying $5 for that. Now that TV was a monster. So if I took it here, it would have been more than $5.
You can take it to Goodwill for free.
If it works.
There's
and everything else.
alternatives.
But, and batteries, I guess the small batteries are an issue. But when a car battery I just took in, that, they automatically charge you $5 and they take it. I guess I would say that I would be in support of this, but I would like to see it with the idea that we would review it in a year. Look at where we are relative to that. You
Yeah,
know,
this-
this is the first time that I've heard that the, what is it called? Northern Transitions. Okay, the recycling program has been in trouble financially. I mean, they've limped along. They've never made a lot of money, but they've limped along. So I guess I would think that for our citizens, it would be wise to review this in a year and see where we are relative to their expenses and revenues. And because I have a hard time imposing fees. Can you imagine that? We've battled over fees for years, but this is the first time that I've balked at that. But I guess I would say that I would support it, but with the caveat that it be reviewed in a year.
And two things. This is schedule in particular is for them to have a couple of special events during the year. They plan on having one in June and then one in the fall. So this isn't going to be an ongoing daily thing, as I understand. It's for special events, and I agree that, you know, let's take a look at it for next year as well. You know, and I do want to back away a little bit from putting out there that Northern Transitions is in financial trouble. They're solvent. They're doing a good job. It's just, and they're not in financial, jeopardy at the moment. But the world of recycling has changed, and they're having to make changes in order to stay current in their financial model. And things have changed a lot. Metal, batteries. We could go on quite a while. I had batteries a year or two ago. I took out and got $12 for. Now I got 4. You know, this year I got 4. And yeah, things have just changed. Cardboard, where they used to be able to take cardboard and get a lot of money for it, now you get a little money. You know, things they used to get money for, now they get nothing. And it's changed. But I agree with you. We need to be watch it. And we have 3 members right now of this board that are active members of the recycling committee, and we're very involved in watching it as well.
And that's something we need to revisit also down the road. But like glass, they don't get a dime for glass. They eat whatever it costs to take the glass down there and drop it off. That they eat the shipping. It's what metals have gone down 80%, 75% income on cardboard. It's just it's the perfect storm. But the only thing they're saving on is maybe a little bit of diesel fuel, saving them a couple bucks a gallon there. But that's it was enlightening, and yes, he was right. They're not in dire straits, but they are reaching into fund equity, and there's money there though.
changing.
So you know,
They do things.
and things could rebound in a year. So I think visiting in a year is an excellent idea.
Yep.
Because in a year, who knows what could happen to bounce oil. We have a contentious presidential election coming up, and we know that plays with oil prices too. So I think now do we have to make a motion then to
Who made the motion?
revisit this in a year?
Well, who made the motion?
I made the motion.
Would you care to make it valid for
Yeah.
2016?
For 2016, absolutely.
And okay.
And
And
then
who
I figured-
supported
I
it?
supported
With the
Okay,
fee
and
schedule
are you
saying for
okay with that
2016
change?
was
with changing it, and then
Okay.
for
So
a
the
year.
the
For a
maker of the motion and the supporter of the motion both agree that this motion would be for 2016.
16 only.
So that's how we will interpret and vote on it. And if we're ready, all in favor vote aye.
Aye.
Opposed vote nay. Motion carries. Well, we move to the Finance Committee. And Commissioner Martin, this is your report. This is item 11, Standing Committee Reports, Finance Claims and Accounts.
Regular meeting of Chippewa County Board of Commissioners, Finance Claims and Accounts was held on Thursday, May 5th, 2016, Chippewa County Building, Sault Ste. Marie, Michigan. Being called to order by myself at 5:30 p.m. with a quorum present. Commissioner Shackleton, Commissioner Egan, Commissioner Johnson. Commissioner McLean was absent. Others present were Joe Johnson from Blue Cross Blue Shield, Ryan Whitley of Blue Cross Blue Shield, Vince Babcock from 44 North, Rob Layton from CCRC, Steve Canello, attorney, Jim German, and Kelly Church. Moved by Commissioner Shackleton, supported by Commissioner Johnson to remove item 8.2, approval of fee schedule from Recycling Center, and a voice vote that motion carried. So obviously we could do that today. Moved by Commissioner Shackleton, supported by Commissioner Johnson to approve the agenda on a voice vote. That motion carried. There was no public comment offered. There was a presentation on Medicare Advantage option for retirees from 44 North and BCBS. Instead of reading this unbelievably long paragraph, I will simply tell you that it is a win-win for the county. It is a win-win for the workers. It's going to give them better service at a lower cost. It will lower their out-of-pocket max. The only downside is specialty prescription copays will increase from 40 to 80, but they would significantly save thousands of dollars, I believe, potential savings, and hundreds of thousands. For worst case scenario, we're going to save over $150,000 for the taxpayers of the county. Worst case scenario, we're going to save that much. If insurance goes up, we will save even more because their costs are locked in for next year. We don't know what the costs would be if we stayed in what we are. So, as such, whoa.
Should we take action on that at all, or just?
No,
It's not listed for
'Cause-
action.
okay,
We're just
so-
gonna move. Okay.
because aren't
Move
we
forward.
gonna have a couple more
Yes.
informational meetings and
Yeah.
then?
Oh yeah.
We're gonna invite the
We're gonna
union in
invite
and-
the employees and the retirees to come learn about it.
Yep.
But it's okay.
But and we're all sitting there looking at it saying this can't be true. It's just too good that we're going to save this kind of money and get better service and better insurance for our retirees.
Don't jinx it.
But it is, and other counties have adopted it, and they love it. So it's a good deal. Then moved by Commissioner Shackleton, supported by Commissioner Egan at 6 o'clock to move into a closed session to update legal correspondence on a roll call vote. 4-0, that motion carried. We declared closed session end at 6:44 p.m. and I need a motion on that, right? I would so move. To
No.
accept closed session? No?
No.
Okay.
We don't need to do anything on that here.
All right. I've never had a closed session before. Sorry. It was then moved by Commissioner Shackleton, supported by Commissioner Johnson to reconvene the Finance Committee at 6:45 and roll call vote. That motion carried. Commissioner Egan excused himself at 6:45. We then received correspondence, monthly treasurer's report, monthly travel report, and visa statements. We then approved millage renewal language for Chippewa County Road Commission. Millage renewal request of 1 mil reduced to .9879 by the required millage rollback for 5 years on the August 2016 ballot. And in the event that it is not approved in August, to then place it on a November 5th ballot as follows.
You don't have to read that one.
Okay, long story short, it is a renewal, not an increase. So then we're going down to,
we need to approve that here.
okay.
Yeah, so go down to the bold type, please.
It was then moved by Commissioner Johnson, supported by Commissioner Shackleton, to approve the road maintenance and repair of proposed millage renewal for August 2016 as presented, including approval for the November ballot. If necessary, in a voice vote, that motion carried, and I would so move.
Thank you.
Support.
Motion is made and supported to pass this and put this road maintenance and repair proposal on the August ballot. And as was mentioned, this is a renewal of a current millage. This benefits both the city and the rest of the county. And it's a renewal, and I think we certainly don't want to go any further behind on roads than we already are. Any discussion on the motion other than that?
I actually was asked by a constituent right outside coming in, can you do something about those bumps on Mackinac Trail? So to say no to this,
I got a call on South Caribou Road. They're having some issues there, and it's on the list of things that would
Nice.
benefit from this. So
Commissioner McLean?
I just wanna mention that, we have a really unique road commission here that is able to undertake road construction and a variety of things, and they work real closely with the townships in determining priorities and that type of thing. And this, I just am wholeheartedly in favor of this, and it's a good thing. And we're sort of unique that we do this, but they stretch a dollar as far as they can get it.
Okay, thank you.
this is good government.
yes,
We don't need a roll call vote for this, do we, Kevin? I don't think so.
I don't believe we need a roll
I
call
don't
vote
think
for
we
this,
need
no.
it. Okay, all in favor, please vote aye.
Aye.
Opposed, vote nay. Motion carries. Well, I was just asking the clerk if we needed a roll call vote on that, and neither one of us thought that was required. It was unanimous, yes. Move on, please.
We then discussed a quotation from Positive Energy and waiver of the county purchasing policy for the county jail and the courthouse, floodlights for increased security, and LED lightings for huge electrical savings and even rebates. Chippewa County's cost of $29,000, an estimated rebate of $9,000, an estimated $1,800 in savings per month, which means if my math is correct, and I don't teach math, within 2 years, these things are all going to pay for themselves, and everything after that is, again, taxpayer savings. Courthouse floodlights, cost of $2,420.24, estimated rebate of $471 and $75 in savings per month once installed. Quotation is still being completed for the county building animal shelter. Commissioner Shackleton noted a verified number of items and utilities rebates. It was then moved by Commissioner Shackleton, supported by Commissioner Johnson, to approve the quotes from Positive Energy to upgrade the Chippewa County Jail and Courthouse 4 floodlights to LED lighting at a cost of $29,948.14 for the jail project and $2,422.24 for the floodlights. The projected total rebates of $9,539.60 with an additional monthly savings of approximately $1,895.34, and to waive the county's purchasing policy. On a voice vote, that motion carried, and I would so move.
Support.
Motion made and supported that we convert a lot of lights around here to LEDs to save money. Any discussion on the motion?
I think it's always good.
All in favor, vote aye.
Aye.
Opposed, vote nay. Motion carries.
We then reviewed the bid summary for panic button silent incident notification system. 4 bids were received. The variance in those bids was in the tens of thousands. We elected to go with Secure Tech Systems in a quote of $9,500, including 10 alarms, would be the recommendation. I believe, though, we had to bump that up to 12, and the caveat was that we were going to keep it under 10,000. Therefore, it was moved by Commissioner Shackleton, supported by Commissioner Johnson, to approve the bid from Secure Tech System at a cost not to exceed $10,000 for those 2 additional alarms, which need to be included in the project. On a voice vote, that motion carried, and I would so move.
Support.
Motion made and supported. Is there discussion on the motion? All in favor, vote aye.
Aye.
Opposed, vote nay. Motion carries.
Committee next reviewed bid summary for 2 Intel-based server class machines and VMware computer license upgrades. 3 bids were received, all met bid specifications. ITC was a little better, $23,799.76, and that includes installation and setup with Fujitsu servers. It was then moved by Commissioner Shackleton, supported by Commissioner Johnson, to approve the low bid from ITC Incorporated at a cost not to exceed $23,799.76 for the 2 Intel-based server class machines and VMware computer license upgrades. On a voice vote, that motion carried, and I would so move.
Support.
Motion made and supported. Is there discussion? All in favor, vote aye.
Aye.
Opposed, vote nay. Motion carries.
Then moved by Commissioner Shackleton, supported by Commissioner Johnson, recommending approval of April bills and payroll as follows. General claims totaling $247,037.14. Other fund claims of $4,005,822.52. Payroll of $682,119.90. Health Department claims of $524,095.10 for a total claim of $5,459,074.66, and vouchers H1 through H296. On a voice vote, that motion carried, and I would so move.
Support.
Motion made and supported that we pay the bills. Is there discussion? All in favor, I'm sorry.
Oh, I'm sorry, no, go.
All in favor, vote aye.
Aye.
Opposed, vote nay. Motion carries.
Then moved by Commissioner McLean, supported by Commissioner Johnson, to adjourn the meeting because there were no comments. And it was adjourned 7:18.
Motion to accept. I'm sorry, sir.
I wanna make one correction because I was conspicuously absent at that meeting, but I see that I moved to adjourn the meeting.
Whoa, hello.
Yeah, so must have
Pretty
been,
sneaky.
who made the motion, Rudy? Was it you or me to adjourn?
Was not I, because I wasn't there, so
That was Friday, Scott.
I have-
got that long
you-
ago.
It was
in my
Rudy?
notes, I just didn't update the minutes.
Okay, so Rudy made the motion, I supported that we adjourn the meeting.
Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner McLean, you did not do that from afar. Phone it in.
I'm good, but not that good.
Telepathically. So there's a correction that we'll note, but we still need, I don't think you got so far as to make the motion to accept them yet.
No, we did not, so now we have that. I would move that we accept the minutes as presented.
And I'll support that.
Motion is made that we, and supported, that we approve the minutes with the one small change, that was noted. Is there any further discussion? All in favor, vote aye.
Alright,
Opposed, vote nay. Motion carries. We move on to commissioner reports, as board rep, general comments. Commissioner McLean.
I'll go first. Maybe I'll cut you off, Rudy. First of all, in the resolutions we passed, I just want to mention Gary McLeod. He, like Dave Jones, I worked with both of them when I was a principal and assistant principal, and Gary was another person that did an outstanding job. So I just want to mention that. The other thing I want to mention is the Island 2 project. Dennis Doherty, former teacher at the middle school, has headed up that, and I think that's a tremendous project. I'm trying to go fast here, guys. Other thing is UPCAP, or PAC, the Upper Peninsula Association of County Commissioners, is meeting on May 19th and 20th at the Island Resort near Escanaba. I would encourage you to go for a couple of reasons. One being that it's always a good meeting to associate with those rest of the county commissioners. The other thing is that there will be a meeting immediately following that of Michigan Works Board of Directors, the LEOs, local elected officials, in order, because we had some discussion relative to Michigan Works earlier, I believe last week, and if you can be there, I plan to be there, but if you can be there, it would be good. And I would encourage from Adele Easterday's comments that we take a real serious look at this new information on line 5. And finally, with this Veterans Affairs tabling that issue, I guess I would think that we would ask our county administrator to contact the VFW, the American Legion, the Vietnam Vets, and the AMVETS. I think those are all the veterans groups out there, to solicit their input so we can move forward on this. And I guess I would say we could work from the basis of the 4 people that we have already turned in their paperwork in order to be timely, and just see what the veterans groups have to say relative to that.
Anyone else? Rudy? Saw
Yeah,
your
I just
hand up.
wanted to congratulate Jim, or compliment him on looking up at 44 North and Medicare Advantage. That's gonna save us a lot of money. I'm sure Jim's put a lot of time into it. So has the lovely Mrs. Kelly Church. I'm quite sure she's worked on this. Haven't you, Kelly?
A little bit.
But
The young and lovely Ms. Kelly Church, I think we established that in the finance meeting.
did we?
yes,
Yeah.
young.
But anyway, I think that's a job well done. It took some effort to look that up and a lot of time put in. So thanks for doing that to both of us.
All right, anyone on the right?
Yeah, I've gotta say, the line 5, I've gone to a couple of meetings as well, just gathering information on this, and it is a serious issue, and I'm very glad that we had such a wonderful presentation. It's something that we need to look at and know that there are millions and millions of dollars in people's livelihoods just in Chippewa County that rely solely on that waterway, so we need to do something about it sooner than later.
I agree.
Jim?
I just,
Come up with something. You don't
I
want-
was looking at the map and I'm trying to figure out, how do they come across up there at Port Huron? Is that connected to the bridge? Is that also under the water? Do we have the same problem at the lower end of Lake Huron? Because
That's where they're running it from.
Ma'am, I'm sorry, we don't.
But,
do it like that.
and I would like some information on that down the road. And I do agree that we don't need crude oil in that. We do need the propane. I mean, there are safe ways of transport, and by pipeline it's far safer. than in a ship. It has, we all found out with the Valdez, but we all found out in Kalamazoo how dangerous, because my parents were down there for that. That's where they live, is in that area. And I don't know what you do. But I see a route that doesn't go through the straits. And why can't we go that way? At least with the heavy oil, at least with the crude. I don't think, because we talked about this, I don't think methane and propane and things like that are an issue or are something that's going to devastate our economy. The crude would devastate us on a level I can't imagine. But that was very good information. Something I think we also need to revisit. So thank you.
Okay.
Thank you. Thank you.
Well, I might as well put in my 2 cents. On the there's 2 issues I'll speak on very briefly. The bridge information, or the pipeline. You know, I mean, my concern is that you're always getting one side of the story. You're getting the environmentalist side of the story about the dangers of it. And there is nobody in this room, including myself, that wants to jeopardize the Great Lakes and the health and safety of everybody who lives on it. I mean, none of us want that sort of disaster. But I do believe that you need to take a scientific and balanced approach. The state of Michigan has received bids for, I know they're millions of dollars, from independent research firms to go establish and find out what the integrity of that line is. And to me, that's a responsible approach, and it needs to be done. And that's really what our resolution had talked about, is that the state and federal government need to ensure that that line is in good shape. And if it's not in good shape, do something about it and do it quickly. But I just think that you know, you need to use science and put the resources behind it to establish the condition of the pipeline and not just go by intuition is my thought. But again, we all care and love the Great Lakes and love where we live. We love the water. I love fresh fish too. I had whitefish for breakfast. So the other thing I want to mention is this Medicare Advantage. If I were one of the retirees that was affected by it, my question would be, how quickly can you get in place? Because it is better coverage, and you can't underestimate the value of going down to one explanation of benefits instead of 2. Dealing with Medicare and Blue Cross Blue Shield is very confusing. And when you can take that down to one EOB, it is going to be, that alone is a great benefit. But more than that, their real financial benefits of the coverage, I was skeptical until, you know, they showed us everything. Here's what it is, and it's guaranteed. And it's a good deal. So I'm anxious for that to move forward and for the retirees to have a chance to ask all their questions and learn more about it.
Could we piggyback on your idea, and this is more for Kelly? Can we do a resolution to push, I mean, let's fast track. It took them, what, 2 weeks down in Lansing to get tax exemption for call centers. Why can't they move this? Can we get a resolution? Can we get to other counties to get resolutions to let's get this thing checked out by an independent source so that we can make an informed decision?
They've already got bids.
No,
The state's doing it.
when's it going to happen? I guess what I'm asking.
Well, I'm not involved directly in the process, but I read the news article that the state had received 5 or 6 bids to do it, because the state is soliciting the bids and is moving forward on a study of the integrity of the pipeline.
So in your opinion, this is being fast tracked?
Yeah, I think so.
I mean, for Lansing, because
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
Good
It's,
qualifier.
Yes, you have to qualify Lansing.
So
Okay.
it's, and I know that that's not satisfying everybody. I understand that. And in fact, we could make all the demands we want. I don't think it's going to make a whole lot of difference anyway, since we're just one little county. But I understand our voice does count, and we have a voice, and we do represent people. And at this point in time, I'm wanting to see the state move along on that quickly. and let's see what we have there.
Yeah.
So, okay, I think we're all talked out perhaps? Are we ready to
Oh,
adjourn?
no, not even close, but we're gonna go home anyhow.
Okay. Is there a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Support.
Motion made and supported that we adjourn. All in favor, vote aye.
Aye.
Opposed, vote nay. This meeting is adjourned.